What is up, YouTube? How we doing? I don't have a ton to chit chat about this evening. I will start it off there for anybody who's stopping by. If you're looking for some trade ideas, I don't have a ton, so you can feel free to check out already. But I just scanned everything, and I'm not pulling up a ton of new watches. So I spent my evening trying to program some scripts on Dash Trader to to get some R value stops, like a long risk low a day or a short risk high a day, and yeah, see if that'll work. But yeah, not a ton on watch. I'm just checking in on Kyle's watch list and Nate's watch list. And yeah. So if there's anything you guys want to touch on, any names you guys are watching, feel free to throw them out. But otherwise, it'll probably be, here for 10 minutes or so and then check out. We had ASST today run the same PR as all those other names. JNVR, UPXI, what was the other one? Kids? Is that the other one? I think. And yeah, ASST ran a very similar PR today. So they will keep beating the dead horse until it no longer works. ASST, I'd need to be gapping up at least 70% plus. Comparing it to, so like, what was it? DVH, what was the JNVR? What did it change to? Keep forgetting. Let me look it up. DFDV. So this one went for 1 day, but went from 2 to 50. UPXI went for 1 day and completely retraced its whole move. Kids went for 1 day, strong close, gap up, para. So this one went from 1 to 10. So going to 40, going to 10, and now this one's up at 3. So I think the range typically starts to narrow on these as people start looking for kids to go to 40 and it stops at 10, and now they'll look for ASST to go to 10 and it'll probably stop before that. So if this gaps up 70% plus, it's in the realm of an overextended gap and crap. And I'll look for a day 2 failed follow through. I think the PR is getting a bit overdone, overused. So when I wasn't super interested in shorting these other ones, as they continue to do it, same thing during COVID, same thing with quantum. As that sector gets breadth, like it gets spread across a bunch of names instead of focus on one, that I think the interest on them tends to dry up. Let me see here. And then in terms of devs, I don't really have much an opinion on it. Just kind of let it do its thing tomorrow. No real trade plan on that one for me. Navini, quite the save there. Jeez. Looking left. Look at this big old wick. This one's holding up well. Definitely worth a watch. Question about something I've been seeing on some reversal plays. So I've been trying to hold on some of these, but very few of them hit my target. For example, SEP, Weight Watcher, Kids, PLRZ. Got decent entries, but don't run to make it worthwhile. So basically the question, at what point would you change your target? Amongst those trades, I don't think the issue is changing your target. I think your issue is trade selection. Amongst those tickers that you just mentioned, technically none of them fit a reversal setup. I did trade SEP today, but this is 100% discretionary. This isn't like a system statistic back trade. This is just, hey, it's pulled back 60 down to 20. I think it should bounce. It's just like a mean reversion idea. Same thing with that USAR trade over here. This is exactly the same trade I just took on SEP, and SEP didn't work today. This one pulled back from 18 down to 8 or 9. I think it should bounce. So it's 100% discretionary. In terms of how statistic and criteria go, I think that is where your error is. Weight Watcher, I don't see this as a reversal setup to me. It was choppy on its front side. Yes, it did go 10x. And then it gaps up and fades, and then gaps down and spikes. And it wasn't a steady up, steady down pattern. And if you look left where all the resistance is, it was gapping like very close to it. Kids, this one here hasn't really pulled back. It's done the same kind of choppy backside. What was the other one? PLRZ. This one doesn't have any dollar volume. So this one was clean where it ran for 1-2 days, pulled red, gap down, fail, but there's no volume. Traded 3 million shares today. So you need, if you have access to Trading Tickers 2, Tim Grattani's DVD, he goes over his criteria reversals, which are fairly similar to mine. I had ran back in like 2019, 2020, I had ran a spreadsheet where I just manually entered into Excel each ticker that I saw do the setup, and I'd put in volume and market cap and 5-day high, 3-day high, 3-day low, blah, 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 everything I could think of. And at the end of the day, when I'd see one of the patterns, I'd enter all the data. And at the end of those couple years, I had 100 and something sample size. And I started trying to filter through it, running like if-then statements through Excel. And once you find one that has a win rate that's like greater than 50%, then I start to look into it. So there was that, and you need like a 300% move, at least 200% on the front side, and ideally more than 1 day. Even if it's 1.5 days where it runs for a day and then the next day runs but fades or closes below its open or something like that. And I do not trade reversals on a 1-day pullback like GPUS today. This one was only a 1-day run, didn't have 1.5 days, so I wasn't interested in it there. And then it gapped down huge and only had 1 red day. Yes, it worked, but look at all those other ones. SEP, Weight Watcher, Kids, PLRZ, all the other ones you just mentioned. If you were to take them all, like your win rate is absolutely dog water. So by sticking to a specific criteria, you're going to miss a few outliers that slip through the cracks that would work. But you also have to realize that you're also not trading all the ones that are going to give you full-size losses. So you need a big front side move. 200-300% is what I use. And then I use at least 2 days of pullback. And ideally they're clean. I'm trying to think. It might take me a minute. I can pull up my spreadsheet on my other computer here. Give me a minute. I can see what the last first green day I played was. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But then you look for multiple days of pullback, and you need at least $7 to $8 million of dollar volume traded on that day. And I use the prior day's close to gauge that. So I use the prior day's close multiplied by the volume traded on the day. And if that's not at least $7 million, then that's an immediate no trade. If it hasn't run at least 200% on the front side, that's an immediate no trade. The 2 days is where I start to get a bit discretionary, where it could be 2, could be 3, and I start to look like something like SEP, for example. When I'm trading this reversal, this doesn't fit that criteria. This was a discretionary trade, but I'm looking at it pulling back into prior support where resistance was, but you can see where all of this volume profile is traded. So if this were to bounce over that 34, 35 level this morning, you can see all the room it has, 40, 45 back before it starts hitting prior support. So when I'm looking for the backside fade, I'm just looking for it to have room to bounce. Got too many trades. I've got, oh cool, a couple weeks ago I just passed my 2,000th trade. Okay, let's see, first green day. The last one I traded was NVNI, which was a loss. I guess it worked. I must have stopped out early or something. So this one here, you can see, goes on 1, 2, 3 day run, and it holds its prior day's close. It gaps up and runs, gaps up, and now this I would consider like 2.5 days of run, because it gapped up and ran, but most of the run on that third day was just in the gap, which was a short trade for me. And then it retraces a bunch of its move. So now you get half of a red day and 2.5 days of run, half day pullback, 1 red day where it holds prior day's close and continues its fade. And the first time it's going green, you get a dip towards prior day's close, and then a push back looking left right into its looking left levels. And let's see, volume was 29 million on a 33-cent close is $10 million. So this ran from 15 to 75. That's way more than 200%. This 29 million on a 33-cent close is way more than the $7 million. It's ran for 2.5 days, which is more than that 1 day I like to see. It's pulled back for more than 1 day. This one was 1.5. And then you get that bounce. So once it starts fitting those criteria, the odds start to stack in your favor. So this was the last one I saw. The one before that I traded was USAR, but that was a discretionary play. And then before that was the market bounce. Was this day, like a month ago. So in the last month, I've had 2 first green days. And then April 3rd, I had NMAX right there. 2 day move, 1 day. So this one was a 1 day pullback, but this one went from 260 down to 40. So that's, I guess, a discretionary one because it only pulled back for one red day. Over here, I traded GE for a bounce. I traded SPY for a bounce. Soxel was a bounce. So that was like a meaner version up on the markets. But I think in terms of what you're asking and what we're going over, I think Invini is the closest one you'll get as an example there, Chris. And I think, I don't think it's a matter of adjusting your targets. I think it's a matter of adjusting your criteria for which ones you're going to trade. That doesn't mean my criteria is the right one. I'm not saying you need to do what I'm doing. I just think by you putting SEP, Weight Watcher, Kids, and PLRZ all in the same basket, I think you're missing something there. I think you need to look a little deeper. Not all first green days, not all first red days, not all breakouts. The chart pattern itself is an idea, and then the criteria that goes into it is like with breakouts. I don't like playing breakouts if there's overhead resistance on the daily within a year or within 100% of its breakout price. So now that eliminates some breakouts that work, but it also eliminates a hell of a lot of breakouts that don't work, and they're avoidable losses. So when you're looking to dip buy recent runners, not all recent runners are dip buys. I mean, look at like what MLGO's been doing. Sure, you get a bounce, but what's saying you didn't try it on each one of these days? IBO, bounce, and nothing, hasn't looked back. So yes, this one went on a nice big run, but look at how it faded on the backside. Each day it tried to bounce. You can see those wicks. So I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I think that's the point I'm trying to make. Find a set of criteria that puts the odds in your favor. It's not just trading any daily chart pattern in a vacuum. Try and find some minutia that puts edge in your favor. Because with these backside bounces, you're taking longs into bag holders. So if the odds are already stacked against you as a long trader with small caps in general, their gravity is made to go to zero. But you're also dip buying something that just went on a recent run where longs are still long from way above your price, and you're bouncing it back into those levels. So yes, you want to be out before you hit that selling pressure wall. I guess I could touch on Pony because I screwed that up today. The plan on it yesterday was looking for the gap down and weak open. And so I got up pretty early this morning. It was just before 3 a.m. my time. And it was gapping down right into those after hours levels. So I took an entry. This wasn't even a full loss. But once it broke the after hours lows, I got stopped. And then going into 8 a.m., we got a pop, higher low, and looked like volume was starting to come back in there. So I took it again with risk on 13 and got stopped again. So it was pre-market size. I think between the two of these was a 1 hour loss. But I wasn't going to just keep trying. And then off the open, we get a flush and no chance at an entry. This thing pulls back 50 cents and then the 1 minute candle closes right back where it was. Like, what do I do with this? So that little weak open red to green idea was kind of botched by me. Premature, didn't wait for it to get over VWAP or anything, and then by the time it did pull, I felt like I was late to the party. So it's still holding up pretty well, but I'm done with that ticker. I tried trading Word off of it, WeRide, and it wasn't really like Pony was making highs and this one was staying relatively weak. So I tried it a couple times to the short side and took 2 quick scalps. Wasn't really anything. GUR continuing back down to yesterday's lows. I hope that thing hits 12. Chris got work to do on criteria. You betcha, you betcha. Blue, very well said. Cool, thank you. I not the greatest at conveying thoughts. I always remember that in math class or something. I'm really good at math, and my when the teacher would want you to show your work, and I could come up with the answer, like mental math or not showing my work or jotting down some numbers or whatever that pull my ideas in order for me to understand them. But for someone else to read it doesn't make sense. And I remember that explicitly, that it was something I needed to try, was be able to explain and verbalize my thoughts, whether it was on paper or verbally speaking to somebody, where I've got like the ideas running like 100 miles an hour in my head and I'm trying to collect them all in a concise way. Bass Hunter tried SEP but had higher hopes. Yeah, the setup looked good. I mean, I think it was worth a try. It just didn't really turn into much. And SEP's kind of been that way. Just when you think it's going to fail, it doesn't. Just when you think it's going to break out, it doesn't. Tried Word 2 because of Pony, but just barely broke even. Following along, that was great. I look at it a little different, so it's interesting to hear your perspective. Cool. Sounds good. Yeah, I don't really think I'm going to trade SEP anymore. What I'm actually looking at is like how many people are trying to dip by this. And we've got this double bottom in this mid-20s that if this loses like this 27, 28 level, I think this could really get hit, because like the farther you zoom out, if this can't re-break 40, you've got this left shoulder, head, and now possible right shoulder. So I was looking to play that right shoulder, but if it doesn't want to bounce that high, it could be a little Down syndrome right shoulder. But before it breaks those 20s. Omex held again. Navini, I think this one's definitely worth keeping on watch given how well this saved today. Possibly through those 55s for like a bigger picture idea. If this starts to break over 55, I'll probably take an entry, because I know that there was a lot of traders looking to short this bounce. And if they didn't cover right here in those few minutes, it's completely taken trend back. So I will assume it fails, but we're within this channel of now we pushed, pulled, and now we're consolidating. It either is to break above 55, 60, or it needs to break below 30. And until it picks one of those directions, I'll be on the sidelines, but whichever way it picks, I'll join that. GPIS, not super interested. I need more consolidation. Too choppy. Nito, here's an example of a nice multi-day run. Went from 20 cents to 80 is a 4x, is a 300% move. It's now pulled back 2 days, but it only traded 8 million shares today on a 30-cent close, is like 3 million. So not one I will look to trade because it doesn't meet my dollar volume requirement. Could still work, could maybe bounce back to like 50, but I won't participate. MRIN, this one could be a little liquidity trap. Players didn't work, but it didn't even not work. It never even set up for the trade. It didn't reclaim prior levels. But you can see day one highs here in after hours, topped out there for the most part and set its VWAP level there at like 140. And then it also was the high here. So like this 140, 145 break, I think would be like the early entry before the high a day at like 160. So maybe like a 145 break, risk on lows, and look to sell through 160 up into those 180s. I think could be a little T+1. ASST, if this gap's high enough, I'd look to short it, but I think it closed in like the 330s. So it's gapping up like 10%, but I'd need it like 60, 70%. AGMH, if you recall, this run, I wasn't interested in it just because of how cheap it was. Buying it at like 6 cents, it just didn't really excite me. In hindsight, taking a triple, I think the commissions would have paid for themselves, but I decided against it. And now we have this huge flat top here through 11. Yes, the breakout is like 14, 15. 15, 27. But you can see it's topped 4 times. So if this breaks 11, I think I would get involved, buy some strength, and get that early entry to that 15 cent. And then devs, just keeping this one on watch just because it's a percent gainer. Ideally, it runs another day. Get a 2-day run out of it and maybe trade it on Friday or Monday. Easy, hit the like button. Do you actually get likes if you ask people to hit it? Is that how it works? I don't even know how to see what the likes are. I don't even know. If people ask me to hit the like button, I never want to. I just want them to do it organically. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Dumbass all the time. Yeah, and feel free to leave your complaints in the complaint box, and we won't get to them. Sat probably feels like kids. Yeah, kids is a goner, and that's kind of the similar. Not KIDS, KIDZ. That's kind of that similar idea I'm looking at with SEP, that if that mid-20s breaks down, you could get a day like this. I like that idea. And if there's enough longs getting bagged now at lower levels, could get sold off even harder. Can I analyze RGC? Not really. It's just a China scam, not something I would trade. Didn't trade due to volume. Why does the price keep getting higher with limited demand? It's just a manipulated name. It's a tightly held float. Let me see what the float is on this. 1.4 million float. It's a China name, and a 1.4 mil float doesn't take a lot to manipulate. When this thing is trading at $10, $10 million buys the entire public float, and there's a lot of people with 10 million bucks. So it's not something I will trade, not something I even have on a watch list. I think it's far too risky. I've seen these time and time again. And it kind of brought it back to me when I was trading Chasen back here, and I was fighting it short side in like the 3 to 4s, and this thing went to 40 in after hours, and it kind of solidified. Like, you hear guys say it, that it only takes one trade to blow an account, and I'm like, no, my risk management's good, blah blah blah. But risk management's nothing when they skip it halt to halt to halt. Or there was that ticker. It halted at the close and then opened at like $300 or something in after hours. There's nothing you could do. It was J. Was it J? J. It wasn't top. Bryce Foose was short into that halt, and he got caught for a 6-fig loss on it. Oh man, What was the ticker? I can't remember. If someone on here knows, I'll look at it, but I can't remember. I think it had a J in it. ZJYL, that was it. Yeah. That was it. I don't remember exactly when it was. Was it like a year ago, though? Yep, right here. 12/18. Let me pull it up. 12/18, 2023. 12/19, 2023. What the heck? Where's my... 1 second. Let me fix this. Data, customize, 12/18, 2023, 12/19, 2023. Look at that. Oh, that one didn't go to 300 though. There was one that opened at like $100 or something. But this one did the exact same thing. It might be the one I was thinking of with the J in it. But it halted midday at 11:24 at $1, and after hours opens at $26. There is no risk management on the planet that can protect you from this. If you're short 1,000 shares at $1, that's $1,000 position, and you're down 25,000. Like if you're short, like on $1,000, you can lose 25K. If you're short 10,000 shares, a $10,000 position is nothing, and you're down 250,000. Like it literally, it doesn't take anything at all, and your career can be over. And that kind of flashed where you hear people say it on video lessons and whatnot, but you also hear them say that the lessons don't sink in until you experience it yourself. And I would hear it that it only takes one trade to blow an account. No, my risk management's solid, that won't affect me, blah, blah, blah. That was me. And then you get stuck in a halt, or you get caught in one of these China scam liquidation names or something. Something happens, it's out of your control, there's nothing you can do, and you lose a bunch of money, and you're like, okay, time to reevaluate. And RGC is one of those. Went from 20 to 240 on a regular name. That's a great overextension chart. But look at like HKD. This one started at $12. It went to 2,600. You know how many people? I had a friend who lost $1 million on this. Like it takes one trade. It's just not worth it. So anyways, that's my rant. So I don't think these are worth trading. It literally takes one. So for me to analyze this, I don't really think it's any value. I think the value is in avoiding them. And yeah, I'd leave it alone. Yeah, Kyle doesn't like if someone asks. That's right. That's right. NTCL halted all day. NTCL's latest ticker halted all day yesterday and today. Huh? You're talking like halt to halt to halt. I see. Yeah, like something like this. Like if you're short anywhere in here, for whatever reason, I don't know, you're short 16, maybe into the 20s, and it's just halt to halt to halt. You're down 100%. And all it's done is just halt up. You think you can withstand the squeeze? Sure. It pulls back right back to your average. No wonder it holds there, because everyone who shorted this parabolic is still stuck. They try to cover, and then whoop, blow an account. Go long before it halts. Yeah, I won't touch them long because you get stuff like click. Like I had shorted this one over here on 416. I think WTO was one of them too. WTO, I think. So for whatever reason, if you're long this name, it's a China scam. Oh, they're gonna keep walking it up, and then look at that. Bam, halt down, halt down, halt down. It happens on both sides. WTO, I think, was one. Look at this. Like, see you later account. It's insane, man. It's insane. So what I mean, it only takes one. I am not the guy making the most money. I'm not the guy making the least. But I've got friends who have made way more than me in periods of time. And those same people, they don't trade anymore because the same risk management and trading practices that got them to turn a 3K account to 10 million bucks. The same risk parameters that gets them to do that in a few years is the same risk parameters that get them to, after 10 million, you pay 50% in taxes. You left with 5 million bucks. That's the same risk that takes you from 5 million back to zero, because any big loss, you're just used to going all in on the next one to make it back. It's the same mentality with, shoot, I just lost the ticker. Was it Devs? Was that the other one? I just clicked off of it. Come on. I was gonna pull up GME right here during this meme stock era, GameStop. So if you're long, maybe for this breakout here through the 13s, you get a move from 13 to 39. You triple your money in 2 days. If you're still holding through a triple in 2 days and you're holding it all the way till up here, that same mentality that's getting you to hold past a triple and continue to hold through all these hard pullbacks is the same mentality that gets you from $10 to 400 is the same mentality that gets you from 400 back down to 10, because you're not holding through all those pullbacks with any sort of strategy or replicable strategy. You're not doing it in a repeatable way. You're looking for that black swan, but for you to hold it from 10 to 400, if you're still holding it at that point, then nothing's ever going to be good enough. You just made a 40x and you're not going to sell any. That was those diamond hands that they just think this thing's going to go on forever. I was working with an electrician at the time who said GME and AMC, that was his retirement plan. I'm like, dude, this doesn't last. This is like, it's going to end right back where it came from. He goes, oh, I don't know, as long as we keep buying. Like, he completely bought into this whole like meme stock. Ugh. But those guys, they made more than me during that period, but they also gave it all back. So it's just not worth it. I'm always like a risk first mentality. You can never win at trading. The winning is to be able to show up tomorrow and continue to keep on playing. So if you show up tomorrow and you make 50K tomorrow, sure, it'd feel nice. It's a good trade, but you're still going to have to come back the next day. You just need to repeat what you did that time, and so that's my mentality anyways. I'll never be the guy to make a, turn 3K to 20 million, 3K to 10 million in 2 years. Like, I'm never going to be that guy. At this point now, I did start with a small account and grew it, but it's slowly, it's methodically, it's with a dollar risk per trade in mind, and it's what keeps me safe, what hasn't blown up an account. And yeah, like I say, I've got plenty of friends that were bragging and flashing P&L. They made crazy numbers, and they don't trade anymore. That's just the way it is. So, who really came out ahead in that scenario? Like, is it the guy who's slowly and steadily showing up for 5 years and making incremental gains and learning each day, or is it the guy who showed up last year, made $1 million, and now blew it up on 1 or 2 trades and trying to make it back? Pick up that mentality to avoid those risky ones. Yeah, marathon mentality. You can't win at trading. If you show up tomorrow and you make 50K, 100K, that's a year's salary for a lot of people, and you can make that in a day. You can make 7 figures in a day. I've never made 7 figures in a day. I think it'd be nice. I don't know what that feels like, but yeah, then you still have to show up the next day. Just because you hit that 7-figure day milestone doesn't mean, oh, cool, I beat the game. This ain't Super Mario. You show up the next day and you try to make that same trade again. So what's the sense in trying to speed it up and make a killing so quick, so fast? Doesn't make any sense to me. I think that's a good note to wrap it up on. I went over a few names. I don't have a ton on watch, but ASST I'll watch, AGMH I'll watch, MRIN I'll watch. I think that was it. And Vinny, this one's still holding up. I'll keep that one on watch. But nothing crazy, no sizable opportunities for me tomorrow. Keep it light, keep it tight, but I think that's a good note to end on. Appreciate you guys sticking around this late in the evening. Was going to be a short one, but you guys got me on a tangent. I love to talk stock, so if you can get me talking, I don't shut up. So, just want to be green tomorrow, not 7 figs. I hear ya. Alrighty. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for hanging in there this late in the evening. Trading well tomorrow, and I'll see you on the next watch list. Peace.